How's your hair look?
I guess okay. You tell me.
You ready to
I
go
haven't
live?
seen-
Does my hair look okay?
I haven't seen myself yet, so I don't,
Are we on? Are we on the air? That's the question. It appears that we are on the air.
All
I
right,
see
all
us.
right, all right.
There we are, right there.
all right, there we go.
All right. Make sure that the volume stays off. Are we on? Are we on? The volume didn't stay off. So we don't even need volume on the keyboard. I have a whole switchboard here to control that. Why did I even bother not just muting the computer? All right, here we are. We're live January 7th, 2021. So 6 days into the new year, and we already had big news yesterday, really disturbing news yesterday, but an attack on the Capitol building after a Trump rally, wherever that was, right down the street somewhere, like a mile and a half away, they said, or something like that.
Around 9 plus 890 something miles away, So
from us.
Yeah.
So it isn't terribly impactful yet for us, but so I go on social. I watched the whole thing, almost the whole thing, as much as I could because I was busy yesterday. But I watched it and I was amazed. Really, I thought there would be violence. I thought there would be violence between the opposing sides during a march up Pennsylvania Avenue or something poetic like that. What I didn't see coming was storming the Capitol building during a seated Congress. And so I was absolutely stunned at what I was watching. And I think the rest of the world is. And I think today we should impact two things. The media's response to it, which I thought obviously was a little overdramatic, and then or hypocritical even, and including our responses, and we'll talk about that. And then what's the long-term effect of something like this moving forward? The big news yesterday, if you ask me, the most important thing that happened yesterday was that the Democrats took over the Senate as well. So it's 50-50, except that Kamala Harris will be the tiebreaker now. So there is no real checks and balances in place to stop the left-wing agenda from moving forward. I think that has an impact on people that are Second Amendment people. I think it's going to have an impact on the churches or conservative churches. Certainly liberal churches will be celebrated. So it was really the raiding of the Capitol building there was probably, to me, the least important thing that happened yesterday. So I know you and I talked a lot last night, a lot this morning. So let's unpack it. What happened yesterday, Jim?
Okay, all right. Let's unpack this for a second. We got to go back a little bit. When I went back to the streets as a supervisor, I had an opportunity to step in front of my platoon, and I looked at them and I said, listen, I only have a couple of rules. Number one, the number one rule is if I show up on a call that you're on and it's some sort of disturbance of some sort, and I hear you yelling and screaming over the other person, you've lost that battle. You always need to be the calmer person in it. Now, I'm not telling – my second rule was that you went home safe. So, you use the necessary force, but what I want is if you end up in court the next day and the guy's got a bandage on him somewhere, his arm or something like that because of the fight that you got into, that he would look at the judge and go, yes, sir, Your Honor, we did get in a fight yesterday, but this was the nicest guy I've ever met in my life. He was so nice to me. He kept saying, look, I don't want to do this, but you're forcing me to. I don't want to have to put you in handcuffs, but you're forcing me to. Okay, I want you to think about that for a second. We need to be nice. All right, so yesterday we saw the abnormal, the fringe. We saw the fringe, and the fringe was on both sides. When Wendy was one time doing a school choice party, kind of a pizza party, where they were talking school choice, this guy shows up with, his cargo pants, camouflage cargo pants, black shirt, and he homeschools his kids. And I'm kind of talking to him saying, hey, what's the story on your kids? And he goes, well, when I realized that the government was spying on the kids from the television, we have a little camera there, and they were watching to see who was following in step with the program and who wasn't, and started to pull my kids in and start talking to them about hating your dads and hating your moms and all these things like this. We pulled them out to homeschool them. Okay, that's fringe. That's fringe.
That's probably. I love a good conspiracy theory, but that's getting way out there.
Okay,
and I hope, by the way, it's not true.
So, we have given the keys. We have given the keys to the Democrats, not only with what happened in Georgia yesterday, but think about this for a second. When when people show up at a peaceful protest, demonstration, whatever you want to call it, and are carrying costumes, shields, all these things like that, that's not a peaceful protest anymore. So Wendy went to San Francisco one time at a conference, a school choice conference. Rupert Murdoch was there, and they were sitting in this big conference room having lunch. And Wendy said all of a sudden people started pulling masks, Sesame Street masks, out of their backpack, putting it on, and causing a disruption. Mm-hmm. So you had all these people sitting in here that were wanting to hear about school choice, and then you had those that snuck in, came in through the back door, came in with the group. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're great. They may have had school choice shirts on, mm-hmm. and they show up and they disrupt the whole service. Yesterday, we gave them the keys to the castle. We truly did. We went as a peaceful protest. We went as a peaceful group that was going to march on. 74 million Americans voted for Donald Trump. You cannot look at the election and not see something that smells bad. And when you look at it enough, you go, why are we not being heard? So these people went there to really support the Republicans that were saying, we need to look at this. We're not saying we want to overturn it. We just want to look at it. Let's take a hard look at it and see if there were things that we need to change for the future. But yet, what happened? A Trojan horse. We marched to the White House. We took them there under the pretense of a peaceful...
The Capitol building.
The Capitol building, under the pretense of a peaceful march. And what happened? They infiltrated our troops. They were there. They used us, and now what has happened? Just exactly what you're talking about. Now, all of a sudden, the far left media is saying, oh, we need police. Oh, look at what the Republicans did. Oh, they're on the fringe. When they didn't do this back in the summer.
Well, I think you're right. So the hypocrisy is glaring. So I have a lot of left-wing friends, a lot of right-wing friends on social media. Left-wing friends had a great day yesterday. Comparing this to everything under the sun, it was interesting to me if I look at it kind of sociologically, how the arguments that my left-wing friends were making yesterday were the arguments that my right-wing friends were making a month ago. Yep. So now all of a sudden, they worry about the police safety, and now all of a sudden this is violence, but the violence we watched all summer wasn't violence. But when you say they infiltrated us, do you mean Antifa or the far right, or who are you talking about?
It doesn't matter which one you want to look at. I say Antifa. And, if you go out online right now, there's a lot of people that are showing video saying this is Antifa pulling up.
Started last night.
Yeah, started last night. Now, I know we're in the initial stages of this.
Yeah, the most emotional stages.
But instead of having cooler heads, take a step back once again and look at it. The media is feeding. Even Fox News today was blaming President Trump for this act.
So I watched Fox yesterday, and I don't generally watch the news except this was important. So I kept it on as much as I could. I watched it. And Fox, even their little lower third, they were using very strong language that we didn't see during the riots this summer. Right. So the hypocrisy of the amazing thing to me is that there's enough hypocrisy to go around. So people now are people on the right are defending an act of violence that we saw yesterday, and then people on the left who've been defending acts of violence all summer, all year, are now flabbergasted. They have selective outrage about what they're upset about. So the pendulum swung, and this is it. So I can tell you, I'll go on record as saying, I think there's enough evidence to at least look at what happened. It's just too bizarre. I don't think, my cynical side is the government's not going to govern itself. So I think Mitch McConnell and a lot of Republicans are just as happy to go back to business as usual because they were flourishing too. But I think that my viewpoint lines up most closely, I think, with Ted Cruz's speech yesterday. It warrants a look, and people argue that they looked at it already. But how are you going to look at 1,000 affidavits in one day? They file the claim, and then 2 days later it's rejected, mostly on standing, not on merit, by the way. But how in the world did they do an investigation in just 48 hours?
Well, okay. Let's talk about. I hate going back to the election again because it just upsets me every time that we talk about it. I, as a police officer, going to court on a case, one of the first things I want is that legitimate evidence needs to be heard, okay? And for court to say, we're not going to listen to you, we're not even going to hear your evidence, that's where it disturbs me.
Yeah, me too. I would agree with that.
If a person comes up and signs an affidavit, that person should be listened to.
Yeah.
And
thousands of people did it. So
thousands of people did it.
So then it becomes even more important that we look at it.
But when they would not allow them to even put on the evidence, it disturbs me to no end.
And I think that's what's on the heart. So I don't think these people are supporters of Trump for the most part as much as they are what Trump represents, right? So people, they seemed zealous about Obama when Obama was president, but they were more zealous about what Obama represented, I think, than probably the man of Obama. And I think it goes the same for Trump. So, and Facebook and Twitter wouldn't even put up posts about it, but they'll put up every other post under the sun. Clearly, people on the right have a legitimate concern. Things are way out of control.
Look, in any conversation that you have with anybody, I'm talking about one of the basic needs of people, and we teach this in all the things that we do, is people want to be heard. If you listen to them, even though you may not agree with them, they want to be heard. Yeah. If you let them speak and say their piece, at least they know that and pay attention. That you even care. Yeah. That you care. Yeah. The media doesn't care. The government doesn't care. I'm sorry.
I think that if they feel that way, and I'm not justifying storming the Capitol.
No,
I don't justify crime at all.
Never.
But if they felt that that their voices weren't heard, and I think that's pretty legitimate. I kind of feel that way too. I'm more conservative. I'm not a Republican, but I'm more conservative than I am liberal, and so I think they have a legitimate argument there. I think, like I said, Ted Cruz laid it out best in his quick little speech before all heck broke loose. But I don't think this ends it. I mean, I don't think this. I think Trump will have an impact on our politics for as long as we're a republic.
But what we have done, we've hurt him. What has happened with these people storming the Capitol is that we have hurt him, because he stood out in front of everybody and said, "We will never surrender. We will never succeed." That just. But I want to make sure that we're perfectly clear. And we're going to get to what we want every single Republican that was there, every single Trump supporter that was there. We're going to talk about what we have to see, what has to be done for the public to know exactly what happened yesterday. And we'll get into that in a little while. But the thing that bothers me the most is that the press that have been from day one of him taking over have been on him.
Oh,
they have been against him.
There's no doubt, even before that. So even through the primaries, by the time he came down the escalator. But Trump said something that is then, I think, disingenuous or duplicit. In other words, I'm always complaining about the left making one argument when they really mean to make another argument. They want reasonable gun control because it sounds awesome, and then they also want to confiscate guns. That's not reasonable gun control. They make the two arguments. I think Trump kind of made the same argument when he said we will never surrender, and then what's his name is in, and then Cruz is in there saying we will after a 10-day.
Yeah.
Trump should have said, unless this is looked at, we're not going to surrender.
Unless we're heard.
And he's not a great communicator.
No, he's not. He's not.
But that's easy, even for somebody like me who's more sympathetic to Trump than a lot of people. I see that and I say, well, what if they look into it and it's not legitimate? Then will you step down? I mean, that's a fair argument.
Well, unfortunately, okay, and this was brought up yesterday, that on January the 20th. His term ends, period. He's not in power anymore. So if he does not step away, then he's...
Yeah, it hardly makes a difference.
Okay, I want to go back for a second. I think we need to make sure that we're perfectly clear here. What happened yesterday was exactly what the left wanted.
Oh,
and we gave
silver
it
platter,
to
yeah.
them
Yeah.
on a silver platter.
But
when I say we gave it to them, we didn't give it to them, not to supporters of Trump and what he has done, but those that have been. Look, if we want to truly look at this, take a moment. Take a moment. If we want to truly look at this whole summer has been the preseason for what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
This whole summer of rioting and nobody calling them out on it, providing them bail money. Yeah. Kamala Harris did that, providing them all these different things that they did. Joe Biden said Antifa is nothing but an idea. They have been planning this. They have been, as soon as Trump won, I hate conspiracies. I truly do.
I love them.
I know you do. I know you do. And I'm going to feed into you right now. But as soon as Trump, like you said, came down the escalator, they started planning his demise from that point on.
There's no doubt about that. In fact, it's the first 2 years of his presidency, half the Republicans didn't even back him. They didn't back him until they had to.
No.
Right? So everything was stacked against this guy. I don't think my left-wing friends make the argument that nobody had it tougher than Obama. I would say Obama was spoon-fed everything he needed by the media.
He was given the Nobel Peace Prize before he even took office.
So so clearly, I don't think if you make the argument that the media hasn't been against this guy, you don't have very strong ground. I agree with you, but I think that drives Trump to self-aggrandize because no one else is doing it, But I'll tell you, like I say every week, they wield all the power. Before they got the Senate yesterday, they control our education system, they control our media. The conservatives in America don't really have much leverage, I don't think.
Well, I'm going to agree with you on this because I went back, and if you go back and look at the bill that they did for the relief, and wanted to pay Americans $600 for relief, which wouldn't even pay most people's rent, but yet they were willing to give billions of dollars to other countries for study on gender.
And some of them are not. Yeah, Pakistan had $500 million for gender studies. I don't think Pakistan's very supportive of gender fluidity.
Well, my question would be to every single one of them that they gave money to, what did it benefit the country? That would be my question.
Well, here's my conspiracy theory on foreign aid. We give Pakistan $1 billion. They turn around and give our family, the politicians' family and friends, $500 million. So the family and friends of the politician is enriched. Pakistan gets $500 million, and the only one that pays the price for it is American taxpayers.
Yeah,
I think it's international money laundering, and that's all it is.
1.3 million to Egypt. 700 million, 1.3 billion. I'm sorry.
To Egypt, yeah.
To Egypt.
So they can buy weapons from the Soviet Union and attack us.
Yeah. Why aren't they buying weapons from us? Sudan. Look, you can talk all day long about Trump's being unpolished as a politician, because that's exactly what he is. Trump is unpolished as a politician, but you cannot take away what he did for this country. I mean, he finally went after China, which has been running us for a while, and said no more.
Yeah.
He brought up the national wage. He got more. The unemployment was unreal where we were at. It was the lowest level ever.
He did as by our traditional standards of success and failure of an administration. He did. I mean, he gets an A.
Yeah.
I think he did a great job, and I think most of what people didn't like about Trump was propaganda created by the media. So when he said, I watched him say in the debate against Biden, will you once and for all denounce white supremacy?
Right.
The next day I saw 10 videos where he announced white supremacy over the years, but the media still wouldn't embrace that he said it. And then Biden says Antifa's not an organization but an idea.
Yeah.
So he deflects for Antifa, and everybody's cool with it.
Right.
Like that's
Right.
fine.
Right.
So I think that there's enough hypocrisy certainly to go around, but I think that the state of our union right now is we are victims to our mainstream media. The idea of getting the truth from anywhere is tough now. All these conspiracy theories come out, and you don't know what to believe and what not to believe. So
Right.
I saw pictures of Antifa members, and I believe there were Antifa members involved in that. But the truth is, they couldn't have all been Antifa members. They had to be some right-wing extremists too, because if you put if 1,000 people stormed the Capitol, I mean, there was hundreds of thousands of people there. Clearly, most of them didn't storm the Capitol, or you
Right.
wouldn't be able to see the
Right.
Capitol.
Right.
But if 1,000 people, just to use round numbers, stormed the Capitol, I would say 100 of them were Antifa, and 900 were right-wing extremists.
I don't know that I would go that low as far as Antifa. I mean, if we look at what has been going on around the country, this was the perfect storm. They came from everywhere. You know, I mean, there's video showing vans, these celebrity vans bringing them in, by the droves. The thing of it is, even if you're talking about you call it the useful idiots. Is that what you say?
Stalin called them that. Yeah.
Yeah. That said, oh wow, we're going to overthrow the government, which you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, when they got in there, what did they do? They did selfies. They took pictures of themselves sitting in the, in Nancy
self-aggrandizing.
Yeah. What the heck was that? And that's like you said, those would be the ones that would be taken out and probably executed after the event happened, because they're non-essential people. They're just useful idiots that went out there and fell into the crowd.
Well, Patrick on the comment section says that kind of what I just said. I wish I read this first. I believe those who stormed the Capitol and egged it all on were Antifa and left-wing anarchists, extremists, masquerading as MAGA. I think that's probably true. I do not believe there were some. I do believe there were some true MAGA people partaking in the chaos. And if MAGA people, by that you mean right-wing extremists, I think you're right. Unfortunately, they took the bait.
I like I said, we gave them the keys. I mean, look, Trump supporters support law enforcement.
Yeah. So
everybody that went against law enforcement yesterday are not true Trump supporters.
They could have made just as strong a statement by surrounding the Capitol with 300,000 people. How many people were there? Do we know?
We don't know yet.
But they didn't have to push past the gates,
No,
right?
They didn't.
By doing that, they're no different than Black Lives Matter and Antifa.
If they would have went there and got on the steps and started singing Christian songs or praising God or saying prayers or something like that, we would have won. We would have won. How could anybody say, "Oh, look what they were doing"? Well, they were holding arms and praising God and singing songs and talking about God bless America.
That would have been totally different, and that would have been effective.
Totally effective.
So the
House of Representatives and the senators that were inside making their statements would now be able to hear the songs coming through or the sounds coming through a peaceful demonstration, where we've heard peaceful demonstration all year long with the buildings burning behind them.
Well, there's a good example. The Black Lives Matter protesters said that it was a small percentage of Antifa agitators that burned down all the cities and everything, which is probably true, except that a percentage of the Black Lives Matter supporters also partook in it. And I think we saw the same thing yesterday with the right wing. At the end of the day, how do we know? Because we can't turn on the news or open a newspaper and trust what they say.
We can't, not anymore.
We are. I mean, I don't think people are clear the gravity of the situation.
I don't either,
because it is if people lose faith in the electoral process, and half the country has, and the truth is the other half probably has too, to some extent. But if you lose faith in the electoral process, the republic has already fallen. The power comes from the people. Yeah. And as soon as the people think that they're not providing that power, that authority to govern, and I don't think we are, then we have a bigger problem. I think that's why I say this is just the beginning of it.
Until yesterday, until the storming of the Capitol, I just took it as these left-wing groups, okay, eventually somebody's going to get tired of it, just say enough is enough. But after yesterday, I have to step back and go, we lost control somewhere. like I said, they have now labeled us. I even had a friend of mine today say, "What do you think of these Trump supporters now?"
Yeah.
I'm a Trump supporter.
I kind of think the same thing I always thought, I guess.
Are you putting me in that category?
Yeah.
Are you? And see, that's what they're going to be doing.
Did not the right wing put everybody that rioted in Baltimore or Washington, D.C. or New York, everybody painted them with the same brush?
But okay, let's.
I know people that marched in Black Lives Matter protests, and I can tell you these people were not, they couldn't hurt themselves, never mind somebody else. They not terribly intimidating people.
I have watched too much video seeing people who peacefully protest
Yeah.
until the sun goes down. I have watched people.
But is it the same people?
It's not
You see
the
what I'm
same
saying?
people. Yeah, I know.
So it is. So I think we're saying the same thing.
We're saying the same thing.
We can't condemn, if you've been condemning all of Black Lives Matter because of 1% or 10% even of people that did violence and burned down city. Only take one person to light a building on fire.
Sure.
But then we can't be offended, or the left shouldn't be saying this represents all Trump supporters. And a lot of my left wing friends, and I have a lot of them, were saying that all day yesterday. Now, of course, they're having their big day. They're
like I said, we gave them the keys. I mean,
if I learned anything, it's that people take this way too serious to joke about it. And I tend to joke about this stuff on social media and upset people. And if it really upsets people, I'll take it down. But I wonder if I don't see how serious these things are. I mean, I was surprised by the reaction to the OJ verdict, why everybody was so upset about that. So I feel like sometimes I'm a little behind the curve when it comes to outrage. I don't know.
Well, I like I said, I had a hard time with what happened yesterday because the thousands upon thousands, however many thousands of because we've done it before. This isn't the first time. Not less than a month ago, we had Save the Vote protest in D.C. where a lot of people went up there. What happened? It was peaceful. They went home. The people that were sitting outside,
they had a Second Amendment rally where everybody had guns and nothing bad happened.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, they figured out our strategy. I'm telling you, these people, or this subculture that's out there, is more dangerous than we truly realize.
I think there's something to be said for that.
They figured us out yesterday because they said, I use this analogy, during World War II, they would send over these shells to create this fog so that the troops could move in.
Yeah.
So we created a fog yesterday for them. We had a peaceful rally. If you listen to the people talking now, the only thing that they can talk about is Trump saying, we will never surrender, we will never succeed. They can't talk about any of the other things that he said about what his administration has done. They won't talk about that at all, not one bit. But we gave them the cloud, the cloud to get close to because they knew we were coming.
Yeah.
They knew we were coming.
Trump said during his speech, and I didn't watch his whole speech, but Trump said during his speech that we're going to go together now and march on the Capitol. So clearly it was pre-planned.
But marching on the Capitol and
storming the Capitol,
and storming
two
different animals. Different animals.
But what do you think the overall reaction would be if this was the left doing this? I think the media would be saying how symbolic it is that they took their house back.
They've already done that. They've talked about how symbolic it is in all the other protests where they've destroyed personal property, where they destroyed people's businesses.
If in an imaginary world it was different yesterday, and it was Obama giving a speech and then people surrounding and even raiding like they did yesterday, I think the narrative would sound more like what powerful imagery we see of the American people rising up in a grassroots effort to take their country back and stuff like that. That would be the narrative if it was the left. The narrative of the right is, now anybody that likes Trump, any Republican or conservative for that matter, is a health hazard. It's dangerous. I guarantee you they're going to roll that out.
Trust me, they are. I know they are. I mean, one of my friends today comes up and, like I says, aren't you going to denounce Trump? That's not what the issue is. The issue is we've lost sight of this. We have lost. I don't even know how to say it. It started way back. We can start listing when things started happening. And because Trump broke the mold, he was the.
Well, I can tell you that, you know me long enough to know I'm not a huge Trump fan.
I know that. I know that.
And
but
I was a Ted Cruz fan for the primaries.
Sure.
But I think that Trump, A, did a great job as a president, and B, was a necessary interruption to what I see as a perversely corrupt political system. I don't, and you fold in their control of the media and their control of social media and our education system. They are a juggernaut. I don't think that can. The biggest thing that happened yesterday was we lost the Senate. The conservatives lost the Senate.
Right.
So people that run churches have something to be concerned about. People that own guns have something to be concerned about now. Why would you? We did last week the secular America's Democratic America, whatever.
Right.
Why would you break down the laws that protect a group unless you were planning on attacking that group?
And all those things are exactly right. But I got to go back to this. I'm going to keep going back to this because you brought up an interesting point there. Ted Cruz is probably one of the most powerful people, was one of the most powerful people in Congress.
Yeah.
People listen to him. He speaks with truth. He's polished. He's a judge. An attorney. He's all these different things that you can talk about. But now he's lost credibility because yesterday, while speaking, they were planning to attack the Capitol. And Ted Cruz, who says President Trump deserves this, now has become an enemy of the state.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be because what he was saying was right.
I know, but let me finish. If he were to run for president next year, what they will do, the left will do, will be pointing out
to Trump.
He was a Trump supporter. He believed in what Trump did. What did Trump do? The last images we're going to see of President Trump are going to be the attack on the White House.
Well, I think that being associated with President Trump is going to be a powerful political tool moving forward. I think there's going to be a new wave of conservatism. I just don't think that as we speak, I mean, they've lost. The Democrats hold all the aces, right? All the wild cards. So unless we see a change, a fundamental change in the media in our country, my friends that are reasonable, kind, loving people believe that the media was fair to Trump and were tough on Biden. They believe that. They don't believe that because they need to. They believe it because they think it's true. That's scary.
Well, I'm going to say this. It is going to take us a while to recover from this. Any conservative out right now that has a Trump sign on their car, any conservative out here that has a flag that says Trump 2020, it's going to be a difficult time for Trump supporters because if what the news is saying right now, if what we're paying attention to right now, his staff, his administration, all these people, this is what's coming out, or abandoning ship.
Yeah. I think that's a political mistake. I think the Trump family, the Trump name, will have political power in this country for infinitum. I don't think it's ever going to end. I mean, there are enough people that believe in true, what I would say is true Trumpism is power to the states, constitutional obedience to the Constitution, no corruption. I think that's what most people, whether you like Trump or not, and I wasn't a personal fan of Trump, I do agree with a lot of his ideologies when it comes to putting America first as a country. And as Christians, we don't put America first. We put our faith first, of course, our kingdom work, but our government should be putting America first. The idea that that's offensive to somebody is bizarre to me. Why would you hire a football coach that wanted to lose or tie?
Yeah.
Or finish 8-8?
Yeah. I mean, everything that you're saying, I totally agree with. I just think that yesterday, in the war that we're fighting right now, we lost a major battle yesterday. Yeah. And it's going to take a little while to recover from that major battle. Is the war over? No, it's not over. It'll never be over. Even if all of a sudden the Republicans took power in both the House and the Senate, even if we took it, the battle is still going on. And the major players, the ones that should be ashamed of themselves or the ones that should be pinpointed and put on notice is the press.
Well, I think if we have mail-in ballots, and we talked about this before, but if we have mail-in ballots, the Republicans will never win again because it's too easy to corrupt it. I think we do have to figure out. I mean, another thing I noticed on the news is all elections have corruption. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to change the Dominion machines because they're so easily corruptible to something else. Oh, they're all corrupt. I mean, everybody's corrupt. That's not acceptable as your goal.
No.
So so then what level of corruption? Well, if your guy wins, it's the perfect level of corruption. If your guy loses, it's entirely too much corruption. I think that's and that when I say hypocrites, I mean everybody, including myself, by the way, because I've egged people on Facebook, not realizing how personal a lot of people take this, and so yesterday was a wake up call for me that I need to be more kind and tolerant to my friends that they truly believe this stuff. I mean, I disagree with them.
Talk to me about the truth. Don't come to me with the media's, key lines. The media's what they're throwing out there, the taglines and stuff like that. Come to me with the truth. You come to me with the truth, I'll be more than happy to sit down and talk to you.
Avoid the low-hanging fruit. Everybody takes the cheap shot.
But when you say
and I do too sometimes.
When you say that that Trump is a racist, show me the truth.
Yeah.
That's so far from the truth. He's the worst racist ever. He's the worst racist
and he's
ever.
a sexist too.
Yeah,
but he had more women in his cabinet than anybody else.
It come to me with the truth. I don't like what he tweets. Okay, fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I truly don't have a problem with that. But when you want a pit bull in your fight, he's the pit bull. Well, and the thing of it is, let me give you another analogy. When I remember one time being asked if I'd like to go to K-9, okay, on the police department.
Oh yeah.
And when I was sitting down talking with them about going to K-9, one of the things they brought up and said, you're going to get bit. Every K-9 officer gets bit. My brother Joel, who was in K-9 for years, got bit multiple times.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to you're going to get bit. Well, guess what? I don't want to be in K-9 then.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get bit.
Yeah.
So when you put a bulldog in, you vote him in.
Expect to get bit, yeah.
Expect to get bit.
Well, I've heard this analogy before. If you hired a plumber, would you hire him based on his plumbing skills or his personality? That hits close to home with me because I was a plumber for 25 years. But if the truth is, I want somebody that's able to get the job done. And if they're unpleasant to look at or unpleasant to listen to, so be it. If they're the better plumber, and I'll pay for it.
That is a great analogy right there. That's a fantastic analogy. This guy may stink when he comes into your house and does it, but when he's finished and walks out the door, it's perfection.
Yeah.
You gather all your friends around and say, look what just happened here. That is what we should be doing right now with him leaving.
Yeah, and
we should be
I think
here.
History will judge him better than we think because
they will.
In 4 years he did a lot of great things.
Oh, they will.
Which tells me that these professional politicians for the last 3 administrations spanning 24 years just getting the hostages back from Iran and North Korea.
Yeah.
He did it in like a year.
Yeah.
Right? They had 24 years and couldn't pull it off. And they were negotiating with countries that held our hostages. And I didn't know that.
He did more in 3.5 years than Joe Biden's done in his whole time.
Yeah, 47 years.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even going to go. That's another subject for another day. I don't even want to talk about him right now. But the thing that like I said, look, I'm going to get into my call now because I'm going to say it now, but I'm going to repeat it at least 2 or 3 times. I want every single Republican that was at the demonstration yesterday. I want every single Republican that was there, conservative, whoever it was, who voted for Trump, that went there for the pure reasons of the Trump rally. I want you to go online and tell people you were there for the right reason.
Or you denounced the violence.
That you denounced the violence. Yeah. That you say this is not the way to get things done. I want you to do that because if you don't, then you're a part of the problem.
Yeah.
So listen, all of our friends out here that listen to this, that are seeing this, share this so that we can get this out. I want to see this go wild because I want to hear from every single Republican that was out there to say we denounced the violence and we were there for we just wanted our voice to be heard. As I said this, say it again. In crisis negotiation, we show up, and one of the first things the very basic thing that you do in any type of crisis negotiation is you have to listen.
Yeah.
Active listening is the number one thing. You cannot get to any other place in crisis negotiation if you do not listen to the person.
It's the basic principle of sales, too. I mean, business.
Because the thing of it is, if it is important to me, it may not be important to you, but it's my perspective. So if you're not willing to take a stand up, I mean, seriously, if you're not willing to stand up and say, hey, you got your phone here. I was there yesterday. I am against violence. We were there for a peaceful demonstration. We want our voices to be heard. Put it out there.
Yeah, I think they should.
There.
I think
that's the challenge.
Had we heard more of that from the left, I think we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
No, we wouldn't.
They would. I mean, they literally stood in front of a burning building on CNN and said, mostly peaceful protest, but there's a building burning behind you. And and the logic is it was mostly a peaceful protest, but that doesn't matter most of my body's healthy, but I do have cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, the cancer is the problem, not the healthiness of.
And
I wouldn't want my doctor to focus on the rest of my body.
We did nothing. We even provided bail money so they could get out to do it the next night.
Yeah, and
we told our police officers to stand down. We told the National Guard, we don't need you.
And what's the first thing they did in Washington yesterday?
Called out the National Guard. And, here's the funny thing, and I want to talk a little bit about this. Stop listening to the crap that's out there. Do your homework. They changed their uniforms from the green National Guard to black.
Yeah.
You know what people were saying? They're supporting Black Lives Matters. No, they're not. They don't want it to look like a military uniform coming into the streets of D.C.
Especially
they
at
want
night.
to look like a law enforcement, coming in to help law enforcement. I will tell you one of the videos that I did see yesterday. I saw police officers heading toward the Capitol, and I saw Trump supporters applauding them, telling them to go and protect the Capitol.
Yeah.
That's what we need to see more of. We need to get this out here, and we need to start talking about this because we need to show these people that we're not the crazy ones in this.
Yeah.
To stand in front of a burning building and to say, this is peaceful protesting.
Yeah. And the truth is, it was mostly peaceful, but that doesn't matter. Now, yesterday clearly mostly peaceful. If there were 200,000 people there, I can't do the math, but 100 was that a half of a 0005 or something? I mean, almost none of the Trump people stormed the Capitol, but that's all we'll remember. Yep. So I'm gonna read some of the comments here. The funny one that I read while you were talking was Simon, a gentleman named Simon Osimo. That's a great name, by the way. I wish I was friends with that guy.
I know.
He said, good to see you picked an easy topic. CNN was absolutely ridiculous yesterday. Live coverage went down. I watched Fox, and I can tell you Fox was, I think, somewhat disingenuous. I wasn't as moved. I mean, I didn't know what was going on, so I guess there is that level of tension. I can't believe somebody was shot, by the way, by the cops, ironically. So
let me say something on that.
All right, go ahead, Copper.
I'm amazed that there weren't more people shot because think about it. You've got 50 people coming at 10 guys.
Yeah.
There was a lot of restraint in that.
Yeah. They're
firing pepper spray at you. There were not uniform officers pulling their weapons out saying, I am in fear of my life. Take that.
They said they shot her because she was crawling through a window. It'd be interesting to see how that case plays out.
Well,
in that environment, is that how long do you have to wait before you pull the trigger?
This is the press. The press is she was an innocent bystander standing there while a guy was knocking out a window to the Capitol.
Yeah.
Listen to me very carefully. If somebody is knocking a window out at the Capitol to break into it, I'm heading the other way. If they would have shot me, it would have been in my butt because I'm moving away from this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stand there while this is going on. Please stop acting like these people that stood there, was involved in this, were innocent bystanders.
Yeah, and we love, and I'm guilty to some degree. We love to blame the cops for everything, but it'll be interesting to see how that case plays out because she was apparently, and if you can trust the news media, a big Trump supporter on social media. She's also a 14-year veteran of the Air Force, interestingly enough. But if she was if 100 people are coming or trying to get through the doors and one person is crawling through the window, is it self-defense? Is it reasonable to shoot them?
Look, I think it's a terrible incident that happened. I feel so sorry for the family. I want this perfectly clear. I think anybody that died yesterday over what happened, it's tragic. It is what that we as law enforcement officers are so afraid of an innocent person dying. Just we are.
Yeah.
If this is true that she was that innocent, I'm just saying this. This is a tragedy to the nth degree. But here's something you got to think about for a second. The law enforcement officer that pulled that trigger, if it was a mistake, if it was overzealous,
Yeah,
if
nervous,
it was
scared, human.
scared, whatever, he has to live with that for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
If this is truly, and I want to say this, we need to make sure that we look at all sides.
Yeah.
If she was a Trump supporter, why was she still there?
Yeah.
This is what bothers me about it. I don't have any problem. You know, like I said,
I'd say that some of the people that stormed the Capitol were Trump supporters. I'd say most of them
I'm sorry.
riled up by Antifa people. Unless there was 1,000 Antifa people there. I mean, I saw interviews with some of them, and they sounded like Trump people to me. I mean,
yeah, and I can play a good
I would
game
say
too.
right-wing people.
You know, I used to buy drugs from people, and I told a good game in that because
Yeah.
I'm buying into pot, to arrest
When
them.
I bought drugs, I was telling the truth.
Yeah, I wasn't, Are you law enforcement? No, of course not.
CNN was ridiculous, Patrick said. Wendy brings up a good point. Local elections do matter. I'm somebody that libertarian or federalist. I think the power of government should be as close to the people as possible. For the first time in my life, I'm glad I'm a Floridian and even a Pasco Countyan. So we are safe for the meantime in Florida. Well, let's switch gears. Talking about being safe or not being safe, we switch gears to the Senate race in Georgia, and now the absence of checks and balances. I mean, they can't change the Constitution with the majority they have, but they can enact laws that they promised to enact during the Democratic primaries. One of which was gun confiscation, and one of them was shutting down churches that don't share their ideology, their liberal ideology. Those are two things that we should be more afraid of that than anything else, and B, we're lucky to be in Florida. I don't see our Florida government complying with that. I think the next big conversation is going to be states' rights.
Well, and I think that this is where we take it. I think that instead of going to D.C. and taking it to D.C., we take it to our states. And we need to let our state leaders know, because we have a lot of Republican leaders down here in Florida. We have a lot.
Yeah.
And we need to take it to them and say, listen, we truly believe in you as long as you believe in us. And if you believe in us, protect us.
Yeah.
This is what bothers me. Washington has too much power.
Absolutely.
Washington has too much power. And it's time that the states that truly believe, listen, California believes in letting it all go and just, who cares? Florida believes in protecting the rights of those that live in this state. Let's keep it this way. Texas, listen, all our Texas friends out there, keep your state the way that it is. You protect those.
You're a Texas boy, by the way.
I'm a Texas boy. But
I'm a New Yorker, so I can't really.
I've lived in Florida for a while, so I can call myself a Floridian, but I was raised in Texas. I lived in Virginia. I talk to my friends in Virginia. They can't understand what's happened up there, but it's the D.C. area. It's those that live up there
and more
that
people
are feeding off of us.
Yeah. Well, we saw the Virginia government push for gun bans.
Yes.
And the something like 87 counties out of 90 or something like that refused to comply, and they dropped it.
Well, and that's what we need to do in the states.
Yeah.
Listen, if they come up and say only people who are in a militia can have weapons, then let's have the state of Florida open up the militia, and I'll be the first one to sign up for it.
Well,
and if they require me to meet once a month, I'm going to be right there.
Yeah. Might as well, I guess.
If they come and say in the state of Florida that churches are protected under the nth degree, look what DeSantis did when the people were going to riot. He raised the criminal, prosecution on it.
Yeah.
He raised the level of what it was and
to attack a church.
To attack a church. So, listen, get in these states that truly believe the rights of their people that live in the states, and let's work it this way. You're a big Civil War, Civil War guy. There's a Civil War. There's a revolution coming. Look,
I'm also a Civil War buff from the first Civil War.
I know that. But let me just say this. If there is a Civil War, let the states fight it out. Let us be represented by the states. If the federal government comes down and says, we are going to take away guns or we're going to take away your funding, the state should look at D.C. and say, take away our funding and we'll stop paying our bills to you. It'll all go to the state.
So the federal government, the only reason the federal government generates any income is because of the states.
There's no jobs in the federal government that's making money.
So somebody has to produce something. So could the states say, if you're a Floridian, you no longer have to pay federal income tax, or you only pay 10%. We'll send 10% of our income, and that's it.
We don't want to hurt the people in Washington, D.C. I mean, the people that live there, that this tax money, some of it goes to, Yeah. But I really think that I would love to sit down with anybody that wants to talk about this. Do we have a legal stance of saying no? I've seen too many states that have legalized drugs, legalized sanctuary cities, not enforce law in rioting and things like this. Heck, let's protect us.
What do you think of remember AOC? I'm reading some of the quotes here from the comments here from Patrick, but AOC said that we should make a list of Trump supporters and get even with them, basically.
Then come to Florida.
Well, clearly I'm hoping she means politicians, which still is wrong. What do you think of if the federal government says wearing a red hat is the same thing as using the N-word, so you can't wear a red hat anymore?
Come to Florida. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Come to these states where we've got a governor that understands exactly what is going on. We have two.
What if a bunch of liberals come here and vote out DeSantis
then we've got to fight that.
Yeah.
We've got to get off our butts. We can't stand on the side. Hey, listen, all my gun buddies out here, all my gun buddies that want to stock up ammunition, which isn't going to amount. You know what you're going to be doing? You're going to be giving the ammunition back to the bad guys when they storm the castle. Because unless you have a whole army of your own that you're going to be protecting, and then you're still losing, you're going to lose that. Send some money, $20, $15. Send some money to some of these organizations that really need to be started right now that want to protect our country, protect our state, and let's get these organizations started. Hey, somebody call us, tell us, let's have you on. Let's have you on.
So I'm reading on here that Trump was, there's some words missing, but Trump was permanently banned from Facebook, banned from Twitter, not just suspended, but banned, I guess. So this is Trump himself. What about the Trump family? What about people that supported Trump? What about people that say something nice about Trump? Is that going to be hate speech moving forward?
President Trump, if I could get you to do one thing, if I could just get you to do one thing with your organization, the money that you have, all these things like this, please start a Twitter, finance a Facebook page. I know Parler's out here. I need to study Parler and find out more. Whoever running Parler, contact us. Let's get our own social media and stop worrying about these that are wanting to control us. Let me say something real quick about Twitter. Twitter shut him down. He tried to go on Twitter to tell people to go home.
Yeah.
He tried to go on Twitter.
Well, he did once, but they shut him down.
They shut him down.
They've been dying to shut him down, let's be honest.
So they shut him down. So when people jump up and down and say, Trump never came out and said anything, he tried to.
Here's my problem with Parler, and I have my other podcast, the God Logic Project, which I haven't done in a couple months, and we can talk about that for a second. But I'm on Parler and Twitter and Instagram, and because I have the podcast and smart people told me I have to be on all those places, I have a problem with retreating to an intellectual bubble. I don't want to talk to just people that agree with me. So while I get annoyed when I read things on Facebook, it means something to me that I get to hear another side of the story, even though I disagree with them.
Okay, hold on a second. You get to hear their side of the story. They will shut you down when
Yeah.
you're trying to say your side
So
of
at
the story.
some point, if it gets that extreme, then clearly, then Parler plays a bigger role. But my worry is if both sides retreat to their intellectual bubbles.
Unfortunately, Kevin, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let me go on record here for a second. Let me just go on record for a moment. If we really truly wanted to alleviate this issue, bring back the Christian values.
Yeah.
Bring back what Christ said about everybody. The answer is God. The answer truly is God. If we base what we're trying to do on God and his teachings and Christ's teachings, we accept that.
For 60 years, we being America, for 60 years we thought that we would be better off if we removed God from everything in our
and
town
look
square.
At where we're at now.
So people are upset now, but I say this is what a godless society looks like.
Exactly, and
so
it ain't working for us.
I was in my Bible last night and this morning and read Ephesians 4. I'm teaching it tonight on my Bible study. But it's almost like he wrote it today for yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is the most people that profess to be the most tolerant are the least tolerant people I know. Everybody, including myself sometimes, goes for the low-hanging fruit.
Sure.
So there is no intellectual honesty in the things they post. So you only have to dig a little bit to debunk the argument or the argument lose its credibility, at least in my mind when I read them. So we need to be less willing to talk and more willing to listen. But it's not going to work if just the right does it. I think the mistake the right has made is they've let liberalism run its course, and this is the result. There's a new bill in Congress to change words to, you can't say mom, dad, brother, sister, he, she.
I'm going to be, listen.
And that guy was a Methodist. That's one of my sister denominations.
I feel like Daniel here because I'm going to still be saying them, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Well, can the government compel you to speak or not speak? I have a problem with
It's
that.
not free speech anymore if they tell me I can't say those things.
Now, you can say, you can't speak actions of violence.
No, and I'm not going to.
But so I think we need to limit hate speech, but we can't call everything hate speech. If everything becomes hate speech, then nothing is hate speech.
I just want to read Deuteronomy 31:8. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. That's why we always have to put God first, even in our conversations and even in our talks. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. That's why I'm sitting here right now. I feel so strong about what we're talking about that we need to be sure that we always include him in the walk. And in that, as I've said before, in that, Christ's teachings teaches us to love our enemies and not hate our enemies and to do things for our enemies. But when we constantly don't want, they're the Pharisees.
Yeah.
It is the Pharisees of Christ's time. They don't want to. One of the things in crisis negotiation, I'm going to go back to this again, in the active listening portion of it, we may not believe at all in what they're saying. Doesn't matter. It is their perspective at this moment in time. It is what they're believing. But now the second step after active listening is to get into rapport. Yeah. You must have empathy. That's in there. And then you get into rapport. And when you get into rapport, both of you now have the right to talk back and forth. Mm-hmm. You now have a conversation because you have been patient and you've listened to this person. Give you the example, go back to what we're talking about. A friend of mine looks at me and says, Trump is racist. And I said, please, I listened to him. Please show me where he's racist. Tell me where he's racist. Give me examples of where he has said
Was he
things.
able to?
No. That's the problem. That's the problem. So that's the low-hanging fruit that you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just too cheap and easy.
Yeah, it's too cheap and easy.
This is more important than bottom feeding, right?
Yes.
So the answer to your question would be most commonly because he said that Mexico's sending over rapists and criminals, and then he said some are good people. Now, I clearly didn't take it as he meant all Mexicans are racists and killers, but the truth is some of them are racists and killers, right? So but there is no desire for the truth. There is desire only to, so people aren't, people say they seek truth in life, but really they seek happiness.
They seek happiness. Yeah.
So the people seek what will tickle their ears, what will make them raise their status amongst their peers. I think they derive their self-worth from they reacted to the Capitol building being stormed as if it was a religious building. They were so offended and I'm a big patriot, but it's a building, and in fact, it's a building that are owned partially by the people that stormed it, right? But they acted as if somebody stormed, St. Patrick's Cathedral in Manhattan.
Well, and we talked about this earlier, and I'm going to finish a little bit of what we talked about. They were so adamant about the White House being stormed, but they weren't adamant about mom and pop shops that people had put all their money in.
No doubt.
They didn't even care.
Which is personal property, by the way.
Which is personal property.
And the Capitol building is not personal property. It's public property.
They didn't even care because they allowed them to continue to do it. People who had put their life savings in a little boutique, within 60 seconds, it was completely destroyed by people who do not care. Yeah. They did not denounce them.
Yeah.
They just said, "Oh, they're just peacefully protesting." It's just a peaceful protest.
And if they didn't say that, they would have said something like, "We understand the rage after all these years."
Yeah.
And understand we've been on lockdown so long that I can maybe appreciate the rage we saw yesterday or even this summer. The riots, which started with what's his name, George Floyd.
Yeah, well,
it kind of started with George Floyd, right?
Started with George. That was the catalyst.
This wave of it. Now there's been others, but I don't think we have as much destruction if these people weren't coming off of 3 months of lockdown.
Sure.
I think that in my own world, the lockdown in the recovery community, the lockdown has been devastating to people dealing with chemical addiction.
That's an interesting point, because my brother, who lives in Louisville, Kentucky, where they had riots, he told me, he said that college students that had been locked in their homes
just felt so good to
hey, we're having a riot, we're having a protest. Let's be perfectly clear here. We're having a protest. We want all y'all to come downtown. What? We get to meet women, we got to be outside, we get to do all these. I am right there.
Can we stop by the liquor store?
Yeah, what are we protesting today? Well, I don't know, but whatever this girl says goes. Okay? Let's go with it. So they followed these. They did these things because we did lock them down. If we look, gosh, once again, hate saying conspiracy, but I know you love it.
I don't trust anybody.
This started 4 years ago. This started before 4 years ago. I'm talking about the overthrow of Trump.
Oh yeah.
Let's call it what it is. Yeah. It's the overthrow of the Trump, the patriarch, the patriots. It's the overthrow of the patriots. Because as soon as they saw him coming down that escalator, they realized that they were going to awake a group of people out here that had seen enough.
Yeah, and I think the second term of Obama was quite different than the first term. And I didn't vote for Obama, but I always was impressed with his oratory skills. I mean, he's a great speaker. Seemed to me he didn't say very much. But the second term of Obama sunk us. In other words,
it started before that.
Yeah, but some of the bizarre things he said when he got reelected were, I mean, every lame duck president goes for swings for the fences the second term. But so I think Trump, love him or hate him, is a response to Obama's second term as president. And I think that the people that are in power now, that will be in power on January 21st, I think that they are not going to be looking to break even. They're not looking to unite. They're going to look to crush anybody that disagrees with them. We were talking earlier about the scripture. We're at an hour now, so we may need to wrap it up. But we were talking earlier, and I mentioned Ephesians 4. And so you can open Ephesians 4 to anywhere, and you would think Paul was writing an op-ed for the New York Times off of last night. But I'm going to read verse 25 from the ESV. Therefore, having put away falsehood, let each one of you speak with truth with his neighbor. For we are members one of another. Be angry, but do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, and give no opportunity to the devil. I'm getting goosebumps. How is that? Yeah. How was that written 2,000 years ago and not this morning after watching the news yesterday?
I got another one for you, because I went out today, and James 3:13 through 18 says, "Who is wise and understands among you? Let them show it by their good deeds, by deeds done in humility that come from wisdom. But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambitions in your heart, do not boast about it or deny the truth. Such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, demonic. For where you have envy and self-ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice." Gosh, it's written for us today. "But the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartiality, and sincere. Peacemakers who sow in peace reap a harvest of righteousness."
Yeah.
I mean, the Spirit is talking. The Spirit is hanging over the
whole situation.
the whole earth right now, especially this country. And we're going to go back on the call. The Spirit is telling you, you need to be out here and you need to be talking to the public on these social media pages here and talk about how you just totally put down what happened yesterday, but you were there and you were a peaceful protester, but you're so against what happened, because we need the American public to hear it. We need your friends to hear it. We need everybody to be out here talking about how they were so against the breaking into the Capitol. They were so against it, but they were there because they love our country, they love our God, and they want to see this country prosper, everybody prosper. Not just the politicians who are going to prosper on us, but they want to see everybody prosper, just like what was happening during the last 4 years. We were seeing this country come back. We were seeing this country being great again. We were seeing this country do things for those that needed the help, needed a place to go. We were seeing it happening, but yet now we're going to turn it back to where politicians are the ones that are going to prosper, and you and I, we're going to be left out here again in the cold.
So let's close with this thought then. What do you see in the next 2 years? What do you see happening in the next 2 years? There's things that scare me about the next 2 years. I don't know if they'll all happen. But what do you think the next 2 years of our American history looks like?
Well, I have been excited about the awakening that I have seen over the last 2 years.
Absolutely.
The last 2 years, the awakening. I want to see those that have awoke, and I want to see them come together and start working toward not letting this fire die, but to continue to fuel it for the rights of all people.
Yeah.
Good conversation. If we disagree, we disagree. But we don't put each other down because we see it differently. But we work together to continue to make this country good, to continue to make this country great. But it's on us now. It's not on the politicians anymore. They have failed us.
I worry that
most politicians. Let me say that there's some good politicians out there.
Yeah, none come to mind right now, but yeah. I worry that the Constitution will be not amended, but they'll write laws that are unconstitutional. I think they're going to write laws to compel us what to say, what not to say. They'll abridge our freedom of assembly. I think that if a church, and that's politically or socially or whatever, I think churches that do not adhere to their worldview, that call what they view as a sin, will be pressured to acquiesce or lose their tax exemption. I think that the Second Amendment is going to be profoundly under attack. I saw reference to yesterday from my left-wing friends. Would they be so upset if this was a school shooting or something like that? But it had nothing to do with gun violence. But it's. I think that the next 2 years. So it comes down to this: are all of the Republicans and any of the Democrats willing to stand by the Constitution, or do they all the Democrats believe that it's an antiquated document that should be amended? It should be fluid, like people think Scripture should be fluid, right? Even Christians do.
Understand, in order to overturn a constitution,
You
there
need
is
two-thirds
a lot.
majority. Yeah.
Not only 2/3, you have to have the states agree with it.
Oh, okay. And most states are Republican, unless it's the governors. But I think most states are Republican. But here's the bottom line: you can make it. You could make the Confederate flag a hate symbol. I think they're going to make the American flag a hate symbol eventually. They're going to want to change the flag to better represent the ideals of the American people. That wouldn't take a constitutional amendment. I think we're going to be compelled to say they and them instead of he or her or mom or dad or whatever. I think that if they determine, like in Canada, that you said it willfully and spitefully, if I called you him and you didn't want me to and I called you him anyway, I think you'd be fined or even imprisoned for it. I think how they're going to define hate speech, and this is why the Supreme Court was so critical during the Trump administration, getting 3 conservatives hopefully on there, or 3 constitutionalists, is they can call anything hate speech. There was a bill in California to ban the sale of any book that spoke negatively about homosexuality or gender confusion or anything like that. That would have included the Bible if it passed. If it had passed in the state of California, you would not be allowed to buy a Bible. Now, being a states guy, I say, well, so be it. If that's what the people of California want, let them have it.
Let them have it.
If I think that we have the opportunity to have 50 little social experiments here, 50 different states, everybody handle things the way you want to handle them. You want to outlaw abortion. You want to, have a 70, 80, 90% tax rate, but they'll pay for your housing and your food and everything like that. California, do it.
Do it.
If you don't want to have guns, don't have guns. You want to have guns, have guns. You want to wear a mask or don't, well, whatever. The only thing I see that is particularly universal to all 50 states is the environmental protection, right?
Mm-hmm.
We share the environment, so we all have to be, and I'm a kind of an environment guy, but so I'm not just making the argument for my camp. It's logical that we all have to, if one state is upstream from another state, they're polluting the river that passes through that state. So we share the environment, but outside of that, education, everything else could be handled by the states, I think.
Sure. I like I said, I think we have to start looking at the states to help us protect what we've done. I don't want to see us succeed from the United States. I want us to stay together. We're the greatest country in the whole wide world. But if we saw Europe, they tried to do the EU.
Yeah, they became United States of Europe, kind of.
Yeah, and what happened? Britain said enough.
Yeah.
The United States right now is looking at the same thing. Washington, D.C. controls us. The press controls us. When do we say enough?
And what about states like Utah and Texas? I mean, some of these states, I suspect Texas has the resources to support themselves. Florida probably does.
And trust me, I don't see a reason why we wouldn't support a state that wants to, instead of sending our income taxes to the D.C.,
I would feel better.
Send the income taxes to that state that wants to join in.
I think states' rights, federalism will be the next big conversation.
Yep, I agree.
I'll predict that. What's today? I'll predict that by the end of the year we're having that conversation.
Yep.
So I don't think I'm always hopeful in my faith and in the bigger scheme of things, but I'm not hopeful. I've never been hopeful the last few years how it ends. So I think that people that are carelessly posting and saying things to incite the other side are picking a fight. They may never have to fight, but somebody might have to. So we've got to be very careful not to go for that low-hanging fruit of the joke. And I'm not more guilty, but I'm guilty of that. Sometimes I do it, and I'm sorry I did it. I take it down. I mean, I don't want to upset people. I want to get laughs and, like you do on a construction site. Everybody make fun of each other and then go home buddies, So, but that's my world. That's not the world,
Well, I truly think that one of the things that because we call it true Christian talk. I think that we really need to make sure that we're always focusing on the expansion of the kingdom of God. I'll read you one more Bible verse, and I'm done for today. And that's Isaiah 43:2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep you away. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. We're getting ready to walk through the fire.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to walk through the fire. And if we truly believe that he's going to protect us, if we truly believe that we can make a change, he has to be included in it.
Yeah.
And when he's included in it, we truly can't fail.
Yeah. Peter wasn't the only. I mean, Jesus wasn't the only guy to walk on water. Peter did briefly, right?
Sure.
And so long as our faith is strong enough to sustain us, that we abide in the vine, John 15,
Amen.
and not in the fruit. I just don't think a lot of people are going to be there. I mean, of course, I worry that I will, my family will, be able to abide to that degree. And so that's a great show we just did. I mean, I think that's an important show. I was going to do the God Logic Project last night. For those of you that watch the God Logic Project, where's my camera here?
It's right there.
For those of you that watch the God Logic Project, I'm not sure where I'm going to go with the Wednesday night show. I haven't done it in a couple of months because I really want to kind of start over fresh. I'll tell you, I'm tired of talking about politics, so I think I'm going to be talking theology or recovery exclusively, but I don't know if you have a comment about that. Certainly let me know. For our show here, True Christian Talk, we're going to talk about current events and from a Christian worldview. We talked a little bit earlier about what logo to use. We need a website. We're going to start getting what the kids call merch. We're going to have our own shirts and hats and stuff like that. So if you have any suggestions for any of that, or if you can be part of helping us with that, comment in there or private message us. And so we're meeting after this show to talk about those things. And then if there's a topic that you would like to discuss, if you'd like to be a guest, if you can be a guest and control yourself, come on the show, right? I mean,
Right.
I would love to have somebody else in here. Not that it's way easier to do a 2-man show than a 1-man show.
Sure.
The Wednesday night thing's a killer. So,
Well, speaking of that, real quick.
Yep.
I will plug the thing that we're doing tonight on the Texas shooting. We're going to be talking about that tonight because I think that there's something that really needs to get out there when we discuss that. And I'm not going to say any more than that. It's just a little bit of a tease. But go to Trinity Security Allies, which is our other hat, and you can sign up for it tonight. Like I said, we're going to be discussing it at length. I'm not going to do a PowerPoint like I normally do on some of these things. I'm just going to speak from the heart and just talk about where we should be and what we're not right now.
Well, they can at 7. You go on at 8. I go on at 7. You notice we picked the same night to do our shows. But I do a Bible study tonight. Facebook.com/GodLogic Weekly Bible Study.
Yeah.
You can be part of that. You can be part of that Bible study. We're doing Ephesians 4 tonight, which couldn't be more pertinent than the news today. So join us for both of those things. I won't be on Jim's, nor he will be on mine, but you can join us individually for both of those things. Although I could be on your show. I've been on your show before.
I might jump over there. You can come in late. We'll let you come in late.
I came in late to our own show one time when I was in an undisclosed location, remember?
In an undisclosed location, yeah.
All right, we love you guys. Thanks for being part of the conversation.
Hey, God bless you. God bless this country.
Yeah, and we will see you guys next Thursday
week.
at 11, and then we'll come up with a topic. I'm sure the life will come up with a topic before us. So we have, if we pick a topic now, we'll change it by then.
It'll change,
so, hey, share this content.
Please, get it out there.
I notice a lot of people not sharing this. We're getting a lot of views, but not a lot of shares. If you get this stuff out there, raise awareness to this kind of conversation, we'd really appreciate it. If no one told you they love you today, we love you.
One last thing. If you see it on YouTube, like it, give it a thumbs up because that puts it out there more.
Yeah.
So give it a thumbs up,
Yeah, get the always give it as many likes as possible because these are not the kind of conversations that Facebook is going to embrace or YouTube's going to embrace. But by you clicking that thumbs up and sharing this content, the algorithm can't resist. So they will market this, help to market this for us. So if you appreciate what we do, it doesn't take much to give it a like and give it a share. And you don't have to agree with us to share it, but
that's right.
You should agree with free speech. So
that's right.
That's it. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. And smash the like button like Patrick just said. And share. Thank you, brother. Have a good night. A good day. Bye.